If you're an introverted, highly sensitive, or neurodivergent solopreneur and you keep thinking to yourself, I'm not ready to build a community yet, I want to gently challenge you on that today. Because in the world of AI generated content, ever-changing algorithms on social media platforms, and the growing trust deficit we are currently in the online space, now is a perfect time for both new and established business owners to create their own private communities away from the noise that they can gather and connect with their dream clients. Now more than ever in the 10 plus years that I've been in business, have I seen the playing field starting to level out between fully established and 7, 8, 9-figure business owners and people who are just starting out. The maturity of the online business space means that people have been disappointed, let down, and maybe burned by your bigger competitors or people in your industry. And so now we all have the opportunity to show people why they should trust us and continue building that goodwill to stand apart from the noise out there. And some of the most aligned and sustainable growth I've seen in my business and in others didn't come after building an audience. It came from choosing to connect first. Back when I was a blogger around 13 years ago, in the heyday of blogging, I didn't have a business and I had no intention of selling anything on my website, but I unknowingly laid the foundation for everything that came afterwards simply by documenting my journey and nurturing real relationships in the blogging community and the people who were visiting my site. And when I did finally launch my business a couple of years later, people were already there, already listening, and already ready. So if you're waiting to be ready enough, this is your sign that you already are. And in all the years I've been doing this, now more than ever, the value of creating your own cozy community of dream clients to cut through the noise and the BS could be one of the most important things that you do. In this video, I'll walk you through 3 surprisingly clear signs that you're ready to start building your cozy community now. Even if your brain is telling you you don't have a website, you don't have an offer yet, and it's too soon or you're too brand new to start. These aren't about follow accounts or perfect platforms and content. It's about real, deep, and meaningful connections and relationships with like-minded people who are either on a similar journey to you and each other, or they're looking for something that you can really support them with. So let's dive into the first sign and why ignoring it could be keeping you stuck in never-ending prep mode. You can spend months building a website, creating content, and developing your offer suite, but if there's nobody who knows that you exist or is there ready to buy from you when you launch, it's incredibly difficult to build momentum. And even more importantly, you're missing out on the clarity that only comes from speaking directly to your ideal clients and seeing exactly what they need support with and the words that they use, the way that they talk about their challenges, and what it is that they've maybe done before or are really looking for to support them. I see this pattern over and over again with new business owners or people who've been stuck on the hamster wheel for a few years since starting and haven't really been able to get that momentum. They think they need to have the perfect website up and ready, the branding, the professional photos, and a fully fleshed out offer suite to bring people on a linear client journey. But here's what happens. They spend 6, 12 months, even longer maybe, perfecting everything in isolation behind the scenes, then launch to crickets because they're missing the most important thing that comes with having a business. People who are there ready to work with them, join their programs, or buy their offers. I've seen so many times the disappointment that comes with putting your whole heart and soul into writing your about page, putting together an offer with bonuses, and creating a super professional sales page. It's such a huge project to be starting your business with, whether you're doing it yourself and learning how to build websites and write copy, or you're working with and outsourcing to professionals that you have to project manage and pay. I always say it's one of the most anticlimactic things you'll do in your business, and the fact that it's often the first project can be so disheartening. When I started my blog many years ago, I started as a lifestyle blogger. I had just moved to Sydney to work in television, and I wanted to be able to share with my friends and family back home what my life was like on this new adventure. I started documenting my journey. I was also learning how to use WordPress, create graphics, and sharing what I was experiencing and learning whilst connecting with a network of bloggers, not just where I was living, but also around the world. Those conversations put me in contact with different people, programs, and the possibilities of what this blog could eventually become if I decided I wanted to pursue it. And it sent me down a path I absolutely didn't expect and maybe would have never gotten to if I hadn't just started with documenting my journey. This meant that years later, when I got my coaching certification, I was looking for pro bono and my first paying clients. I had already started building an email list, and I was connected with people who were coming on the journey to becoming a coach with me. And by the time I had something to offer, not only did I have real relationships and people who trusted me in my community, but it meant I had people to reach out to instead of just posting something on Instagram and hoping that a bunch of strangers online would want to work with me. So the action step for you, if you've been in this place, is to start documenting your journey now, wherever you feel comfortable doing so. So whichever platform you enjoy spending the most time on, and in the format that feels most natural to you. Never underestimate the fact that people who are on a similar journey or are looking to start something that you might be doing will be interested in following you and seeing what you're learning along the way to help them on their own journey too. You might choose one of the social media platforms like Instagram or TikTok. Maybe you start a Substack or your own newsletter, or maybe you prefer video or audio and you start a private podcast, YouTube channel, or you create short form reels or TikTok videos to share with people what you're learning along the way and the different tools and modalities that you've learned that have helped you on your journey that you're now supporting other people with. Getting into a habit of creating content in this way early on, before you even have something to offer, is, in my opinion, a great habit to start and a beautiful way to build goodwill with your early followers because you're not instantly trying to sell them something. And I know what you might be thinking, but I only have a handful of followers right now. What if my mum is the only person on my email list? Here's the secret that most people don't talk about. Everybody starts at zero, and starting small is actually a huge advantage. It means you get the opportunity to play, to talk about the things that you are really passionate and interested in, and to do so in a low stakes way because not that many people are watching yet. It also means that as you start connecting with other people in comment sections, in different communities that you're in, or even just by searching the themes or the hashtags that you talk about to find other creators like you, you'll start to build those deep and meaningful connections in a super introvert friendly way. And trust me, I have people who are in my Emerge and Expand mastermind today who started following me 10 or 11 years ago online and have become the biggest advocates for me, my work, and the community we've been building together that you could be starting to form now. Your early adopters become your most passionate advocates later on, and they help to bring in like-minded people and welcome the new people joining your community because they're part of the furniture. They're so excited and happy to be there. They actually help do your job for you in a way that you just can't do for yourself as the leader of the group. The intimacy of a small community also creates deeper bonds than what's possible in massive groups where everyone's just trying to navigate how much noise there is. But over time, your community will grow and the effort that you put in at the start will compound. So you're not big enough concern. It's actually your superpower right now to building your own confidence, starting to get comfortable sharing in this way, and using your ability to deeply connect with people in a one-on-one setting to start growing your community one person at a time. Reason number 2 that you're ready to build a community is that you're noticing conversations that aren't being addressed. Being observant about the gaps in your industry and niche conversations is a goldmine for building a community that feels truly seen and heard. This is also how you gain incredible clarity about what's needed in your space by picking up the breadcrumbs of trends that you're noticing or patterns that you see emerging with your ideal clients in comment sections and in your industry across the board. Maybe you've seen this yourself. You follow business owners or influencers who are in your niche or industry, and you notice that people are having conversations in their comment sections kind of separate from them because they're too big and busy to reply to every single conversation. This is an incredible opportunity to see the things that maybe the people you're following are actually missing that their audience really needs right now. And there's an amazing opportunity for you to help fill that gap. As someone who's worked with introverts and highly sensitive people for many years now, this is something that I learned to do really early on because so often we find ourselves in communities, in Facebook groups, or in programs that are designed for a certain personality type, and the introverted and neurodivergent people kind of get left behind. By being able to observe these patterns, I've been able to move quickly on ideas, topics, and trends that I saw emerging in the conversations, which made it seem like I was ahead of the curve, but really I was just listening and paying attention and looking for what was missing in the space. It can be so easy to be in a program and not like the way that it's being run or criticize the things you think are missing. But there is also an incredible opportunity to be positive and be an engaged part of that community whilst also filling the gaps and creating what you wish existed. I started becoming a bit of a conversation connector in a few very specific communities that I've been in. Brevity is not my strength, and I can't leave just a surface level comment to save my life. But I started to use this as a strength to really practice, build my confidence, and showcase my experience in different spaces that I was showing up in. When you leave the most valuable comment on somebody's content, or you really help people in a community space, you start to get seen as a really valuable member of that community. People will naturally be curious, click through to your profile, and see what other options are available to connect with you further, learn more about your work, or even join your community as well. This way, you're also not competing with bigger influencers or people whose programs you're in, but you're actually helping to fill a gap, which makes both your community and the community that you're in more valuable to the specific people that are resonating with what you're saying. This has allowed me to be a big fish in a small pond. Instead of creating content that I hope is going to go viral on social media and create content that's going to compete with the bigger coaches and business people out there, instead I invest that time in becoming a really valuable member in somebody else's community, uplifting and highlighting how amazing they are, whilst also building connections with people who are looking for the more specific support that I can maybe give them. So this is a really great way to start connecting with and finding your ideal clients, whilst also building amazing collaboration opportunities with other business owners. Identify maybe 3 to 5 communities where your ideal clients are already gathering. These can be free Facebook groups, LinkedIn communities, the comment sections of bigger influencers in your niche, or even paid programs and memberships, because you know the people who are investing in being in that space are likely to be even more engaged. You might revolve through different groups depending on your capacity and your energy, but it's so easy to allocate 10 to 15 minutes a day going into each of those groups or communities that you're in and engaging meaningfully in those spaces. Not to promote yourself, but to be genuinely helpful by leaving the most thoughtful and valuable comment that you can. I think this really plays to our strengths as more introverted people as well, because we do like to have those more deep and meaningful conversations and connect with people on a much more one-to-one scale. It might seem like a lot of energy to be doing this, but there's so much that you can also get from this on the other side. You can pay attention to what questions are coming up repeatedly, or what topics seem to generate the most interest or confusion in the spaces that you're in, and that you know you could create other content around that would really help answer those questions for your people. Something else that I like to do is I copy and paste a comment that I've left in a community if it's something that I think will be helpful to either my members or to my wider audience, and I'll often repurpose that comment and turn it into a YouTube video, an email to my list, or some other piece of content so that I am making the most of the time and energy I put into that. That's how much value I want to bring in those comments. And if being able to repurpose the amazing valuable comments that you're leaving in different communities or comment sections still isn't enough, and you're thinking that you already barely have enough time to create content as it is, let alone build community or show up in other people's spaces as well, here's the perspective shift that changed everything for me. Community building isn't separate from content creation. It's all an ability for you to be able to showcase your skills and experience, tell your story, and document your journey whilst connecting with your people. Whether you're a part of other communities or you're creating content in a more public way, as you invite people into your process along on your journey, you will naturally attract people who are interested in what you're talking about, who see value in what you have to say, and who are maybe on a similar path to you. Those people become your research team, your feedback loop, so that you can see what's resonating with them the most and spend less time guessing about what your people actually need. When people first get into their industry that they decide to start a service-based business around, so often we learn industry terms and jargon that we can share with each other and understand exactly what we're talking about. But what we forget when we're creating our content is that our audience are most likely not at that professional level, and the way that they talk about their challenges that our offer or our services might be the perfect solution to, they use completely different words or focus on different challenges than what we might be talking to them about. And this is the best way to combat that, by paying attention to what your people are actually saying. And reason 3 why you might be ready to start your own cozy community is that you can't find anywhere that you enjoy showing up, or you're craving deeper connection beyond the surface level interactions on social media. Creating content without meaningful connection often feels like shouting into the void. When you're craving more substantial interaction, that's a really great sign that you're ready to start building your community. And if you can't find what you're looking for, that's an even bigger sign that it's time to create your own space that you wish existed now or when you were first starting out. When you start bringing like-minded people together who are on a similar path to you, who are looking for a solution that you can support them with, or who are interested in a topic that you talk about, not only do you build fulfilling connections with real people, it's also how your ideas can evolve from vague concepts or things that you're wondering, does anybody else feel like this, into powerful, tested solutions that really help your people. I remember when people first started using Instagram for marketing and business content. I would get 2, 3, 400 likes per post because my content was being seen by most of my audience. Now, all these years later, with a much bigger following, I'm lucky if I get 20 or 30 likes per post. I also saw this as the attention on blogging started to shift more to social media and video content. People's behaviors start changing, and content that we put hours and hours of work into that maybe used to get seen just doesn't get the same eyeballs on it now as it once did. It also came up in the heyday of the influencer coaches who talked a lot about becoming less accessible to your audience and your community unless they were high-end paying clients. And it never sat well with me. And since I've started really committing to having amazing conversations in my DMs, answering questions so I can really best direct or support people who are in my wider community, and even offering 30-minute calls to really help people with their next step, I've started to realize more and more the importance of building trust in a more one-on-one way. I've talked about this in a previous video about how important it is when you're looking for clients to start with a short call or experience that is not a sales call, but is a way for you to really hold space for someone, get to understand them and what it is that they're looking for support around, and help them leave with an outcome and a next step, whether they decide to stay working with you or not. Not only does that help to build trust in a climate where there is a real trust deficit right now, it helps your people get a quick win and build that connection with them in your community. Plus, it gives you so much information about the patterns that are emerging or the challenges that your people are having that you can easily help them with or create some content around. We can think we know what our people need. We can even see what it is that we know they're struggling with. But until we actually talk to them and hear what's most front of mind for them and create our messaging and really speak to the thing that's most front of mind for them, there is always going to be a bit of a disconnect there between the problem that they think they have and the solution that we're providing. It's also how we get that feedback loop happening where we can really ask powerful questions and get to the heart of what's really going on from the people who are most engaged in our audience. Which is why I'm adamant that our time and energy is better spent connecting first before working behind the scenes to put something together or spending hours creating social media content. This is why I tell my clients and mastermind members to book free calls when they're looking for clients and actually talk to their people rather than creating a low ticket digital product that they think people might want. That's why I talk about pre-launching before spending 6 months behind the scenes creating something, and experienceifying your expertise with free live experiences to build trust and rapport and to showcase what it's like to work with you on a longer term. Even my minimum viable community strategy that I shared in my last video focuses on letting your most engaged inner circle people into your community first for free. Sometimes it seems counterintuitive in the world we live in to give the people closest to you who are most likely to buy from you free access, but it always pays off in the connection and the bonds you form with those people by giving back to them as a thank you for being here before anybody else was, and in the contribution that they will make over the years from being your first inner circle people and helping to give you the clarity you need to be able to connect with and find more amazing souls just like them. And so a first step here for you is to start an email list straight away, or start getting into regular communication with the people who are already on it, even if you only have 10 subscribers. That gives you a direct line of communication that isn't dependent on algorithms or having to create graphics or videos for social media. Then start to think about creating a simple community space, whether it's on a community specific platform, a social media group or private chat, or something else altogether that's on a platform you enjoy using, where you can invite people in to connect with you and each other around a shared interest or topic. I see so many people getting caught up that they think they should build a huge Instagram following, but they don't enjoy creating content on Instagram. I see people getting caught up thinking that they don't have the time or energy to be sending a weekly email to their list or trying to decide the perfect platform to get started on. The platforms will always change, they will come and go, and you can always move when it feels right for you. But the principles of community building remain the same. Start with one primary content channel. You can always expand later on, add different platforms, try out new things, but starting small and building those connections now is going to pay off so much in the coming years. And if you're thinking I don't have years to do this business is not a short-term thing. It is going to take time. And if you're willing to invest that time in building those one-on-one connections, one person at a time if you have to at first, that is going to build such an amazing foundation for the sustainability of your business. So here's what I want you to take away from this video. Building a community isn't something you do after you've made it, after you've got your full website and entire offer suite fully fleshed out and launched. It's actually how you make it in the first place, and make sure that the content you're creating, the offers and the problems that you solve are speaking directly to the people you most want to work with. And it's it's the fastest path to clarity around what you love to talk about the most if you're not sure on that yet, and what your audience truly needs. Every single person who has a big following or a thriving community right now started at zero, just like you might be. You don't need 1,000 followers to start. You don't need the perfect website or offer suite. What you need is to find a place to bring people together, a shared mission that will deepen and evolve over time, and a genuine care for listening to the people that you want to support and creating those amazing connections with them. 6 months from now, you'll either wish that you started building your community today, or you'll be grateful that you did and you're already 6 months in. The difference between creators and business owners who struggle alone and those who thrive with support often comes down to one decision. Are you willing to prioritize connection over perfection? So if you recognize any of these 3 signs in yourself, you're stuck in endless preparation mode, wanting to get everything in your business perfect before you can start building an audience. You're noticing conversations or themes that are starting to pop up in spaces that you're in that aren't being addressed, or you're craving deeper connections beyond surface level interactions, then you're absolutely ready to start building your cozy community today. What I've observed in my own journey and with others I've guided is that there's a predictable pattern to community building. It starts with feeling vulnerable and uncertain, wondering if or why anybody is going to join your space, moves through consistency and genuine connection, and ultimately creates a self-sustaining ecosystem where your community members create value for each other. They build these amazing connections, and it means you've always got people there who are ready to take the next step with you and work with you deeper. So hopefully this has convinced you to get started today in whatever way might feel the easiest for you to start bringing people together and having these amazing conversations. If you're interested in building a cozy community or really understanding what that means, make sure you check out those videos. And if you're interested in going even deeper, I'll put the details below on how you can join my free Cozy Business Workshop, where community building is one of the core pillars. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.